Welcome to our comprehensive guide on the IUPAC nomenclature of organic chemistry. In this video, we'll break down the systematic way chemists name organic compounds, ensuring clarity and consistency worldwide. Whether you're a student just starting out or someone looking to refresh your knowledge, understanding IUPAC rules is essential. We'll start by exploring the purpose of IUPAC nomenclature, then move step by step through the rules, examples, and common pitfalls. By the end, you'll feel confident naming a wide variety of organic molecules. Let's dive in and see how chemistry's universal language works. International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry, or IUPAC, create a standardized system for naming organic compounds. Before this, chemists used a variety of local or historical names, leading to confusion and miscommunication. IUPAC nomenclature ensures that every compound has a unique, universally accepted name. This system helps scientists across the globe share research, collaborate, and avoid dangerous mistakes. Imagine trying to synthesize a compound with an ambiguous name. Errors could be costly. That's why IUPAC rules are so important in both academic and industrial chemistry. IUPAC names are built from several parts: the parent hydrocarbon, prefixes for substituents, infixes for double or triple bonds, and suffixes for functional groups. Each part conveys specific information about the molecule's structure. The parent chain forms the backbone, while prefixes and suffixes describe what's attached and where. This modular approach makes it possible to name even the most complex molecules systematically. As we move forward, we'll break down each component and see how they fit together to create a complete, meaningful name. First step in naming any organic compound is to identify the longest continuous carbon chain. This chain becomes the parent hydrocarbon, and its length determines the root name, like methane, ethane, propane, and so on. If there are multiple chains of equal length, choose the one with the most substituents. This ensures the name reflects the most complex structure possible. Once you've found the parent chain, you're ready to start adding prefixes and suffixes to describe the rest of the molecule. After identifying the parent chain, the next step is to number its carbon atoms. Start from the end nearest to the first point of difference, usually the closest substituent or functional group. This numbering ensures that the lowest possible numbers are assigned to the substituents. If there's a tie, use alphabetical order or the next point of difference to decide. Proper numbering is crucial because it affects the entire name and helps avoid ambiguity. Alkanes are the simplest hydrocarbons, containing only single bonds. Their names are based on the number of carbon atoms: methane for 1, ethane for 2, propane for 3, and so on. The root name is followed by the suffix -ane. For branch alkanes, use prefixes to indicate the substituents and their positions. For example, 2-methylpropane means a methyl group is attached to the second carbon of propane. This systematic approach keeps things clear and consistent. A hydrocarbon contains double or triple bonds. It's called an alkene or alkane respectively. The root name is modified with the suffix -ene for double bonds and -un for triple bonds. The position of the bond is indicated by a number placed before the suffix. For example, but 2-ene means the double bond starts at the second carbon of butane. Always number the chain so the multiple bond gets the lowest possible number. Substituents are groups attached to the main carbon chain. Common examples include methyl, ethyl, and propyl groups. Each substituent is named as a prefix, and its position on the chain is indicated by a number. If there are multiple identical substituents, use prefixes like D-tri or tetra. For example, 2,3-dimethylbutane has methyl groups on the second and third carbons of butane. Always list substituents in alphabetical order, regardless of their position. Functional groups are specific atoms or groups of atoms that give organic molecules their characteristic properties. Common functional groups include alcohols, OH, carboxylic acid, COOH, aldehydes, CHO, ketones, C=O, and amines, NH2. Each functional group has its own suffix and priority in naming. For example, alcohols use the suffix -al, while carboxylic acids use OIC acid. Understanding functional groups is key to mastering IUPAC nomenclature. Alcohols are named by replacing the E of the parent alkane with -al. The position of the hydroxyl group is indicated by a number. For example, butan-2-ol has the O group on the second carbon. Ethers are named as alkoxyalkanes, where the shorter alkyl group is treated as an alkoxy substituent. For instance, methoxyethane means a methoxy group attached to ethane. These rules help distinguish between similar compounds. Aldehydes are named by replacing the E of the parent alkane with -al. The carbonyl group is always at the end of the chain, so no number is needed. For example, ethanal is a 2-carbon aldehyde. Ketones use the suffix -1, and the position of the carbonyl group is indicated by a number. For example, pentan-2,1 has the carbonyl group on the second carbon of pentane. These suffixes make it easy to identify the functional group at a glance. Carboxylic acids are named by replacing the E of the parent alkane with OIC acid. The carboxyl group is always at the end of the chain, so it's assigned position 1 by default. For example, ethanoic acid is a 2-carbon carboxylic acid. If there are additional substituents, their positions are indicated as usual. Carboxylic acids have the highest priority among functional groups, so their suffix takes precedence in naming. Amines are named by adding the suffix -amine to the parent hydrocarbon, and the position of the amino group is indicated by a number. For example, butan-1 amine has an amino group on the first carbon. Amides are named by replacing the E of the parent alkane with amide. For example, ethanamide is a 2-carbon amide. Both groups can also be named as substituents when they're not the highest priority group in the molecule. Nitriles are named by adding the suffix nitrile to the parent hydrocarbon, with the nitrile group always at the end of the chain. For example, ethanitrile is a 2-carbon nitrile. Esters are named by first adding the alkyl group attached to the oxygen, followed by the acid part with the suffix -ote. For example, methyl-ethanoate is the ester formed from methanol and ethanoic acid. These names reflect the structure and origin of the compounds. Halides are named as prefixes such as fluoro, chloro, bromo, or iodo, followed by the position number. For example, 2-chloropropene means a chlorine atom is attached to the second carbon of propane. Other groups like nitro-No2 or cyano-CN are also named as prefixes. These groups are listed alphabetically with other substituents when constructing the full name. When a molecule contains more than one functional group, the group with the highest priority determines the suffix, while others are named as prefixes. For example, in 3-hydroxybutanoic acid, the carboxylic acid group takes priority, so it's the suffix, and the hydroxyl group is a prefix. The IUPAC priority order helps resolve which group is named as the main functional group. This ensures consistency and avoids confusion. Cyclic compounds are named by adding the prefix cyclo to the parent hydrocarbon. For example, cyclohexane is a 6-carbon ring. If there are substituents, number the rings so that the lowest set of numbers is assigned. For multiple rings or fused systems, special rules apply, but the basic idea is to indicate the ring structure clearly. Cyclic compounds are common in both natural and synthetic chemistry. Aromatic compounds like benzene have special naming rules. The simplest aromatic hydrocarbon is benzene, and its derivatives are named by indicating the substituents in their positions. For example, 1,3-dimethylbenzene is also known as emxylene. When multiple substituents are present, use the lowest possible numbers and list them alphabetically. Some common names like toluene or aniline are still accepted by IUPAC. Stereochemistry refers to the spatial arrangement of atoms and molecules. IUPAC nomenclature uses prefixes like cis, trans, R, and S to indicate stereochemistry. For example, cis but toluene means the two largest groups are on the same side of the double bond. R and S are used for chiral centers based on the Conning-Gold per log priority rules. These prefixes provide important information about the molecule's 3D structure. For alkenes with more complex substituents, the EZ system is used instead of cis-trans. E stands for engagement opposite and Z for Zu-Sumen together. The priority of groups is determined by atomic number. If the highest priority groups are on the same side, it's Z. If on opposite sides, it's E. This system is more precise for molecules with multiple or bulky substituents. Isomers are compounds with the same molecular formula but different structures. Structural isomers differ in connectivity, while stereoisomers differ in spatial arrangement. IUPAC names distinguish between isomers by specifying the exact structure, including the position of substituents, double bonds, and stereochemistry. This precision is crucial for understanding chemical properties and reactivity. Branch chains are named by identifying the longest continuous chain as the parent and treating other branches as substituents. Each branch is named as an alkyl group, and its position is indicated by a number. For example, 3-ethyl-2-methylpentane means an ethyl group is on the third carbon and a methyl group on the second carbon of pentane. List branches alphabetically and use the lowest possible numbers. When a substituent itself is branched, it's named as a substituted alkyl group. Enclose the name in parentheses and indicate its position on the parent chain. For example, 4,1-methylthioheptane means a 1-methylthiol group is attached to the fourth carbon of heptane. This approach keeps the name clear, even for complex molecules. If a molecule has more than one identical substituent, use prefixes like D, tri, or tetra to indicate the number. List all positions separated by commas. For example, 2,3,4-trimethylpentane means there are methyl groups on the second, third, and fourth carbons of pentane. This rule applies to all types of substituents, making names concise and informative. Listing multiple different substituents, always arrange them in alphabetical order regardless of their position numbers. Ignore prefixes like D, tri, or sec when alphabetizing. For example, ethyl comes before methyl, so 3-ethyl-2-methylpentane is correct. This rule ensures consistency and makes it easier to interpret complex names. Locants are numbers that indicate the position of substituents or functional groups. Always separate numbers from letters with hyphens and use commas between multiple numbers. For example, 2,4-dimethylhexane means methyl groups on carbons 2 and 4. This punctuation helps avoid confusion and makes names easier to read. Some compounds have widely used common names like acetic acid or acetone. While IUPAC names are preferred in scientific writing, common names are still accepted for certain simple or well-known compounds. It's important to recognize both as you'll encounter them in textbooks, exams, and research papers. Over time, IUPAC names are becoming more standard, but common names remain part of chemistry's vocabulary. Let's practice naming a simple alkane. Suppose you have a molecule with 5 carbons in a straight chain and a methyl group on the second carbon. The parent chain is pentane and the substituent is a methyl group at position 2. The correct IUPAC name is 2-methylpenane. Practicing with examples like this helps reinforce the rules and builds confidence. Now let's try naming an alkene. Imagine a 4-carbon chain with a double bond starting at the second carbon. The parent chain is butene and the double bond is at position 2. The correct name is butuene. If there's a methyl group on the third carbon, the name becomes 3-methylbutuene. Practice like this helps you get comfortable with the rules for double bonds. Let's practice naming an alcohol. Suppose you have a 3-carbon chain with a hydroxyl group on the second carbon. The parent chain is propane and the O group is at position 2. The correct IUPAC name is propan-2-ol. If there's a methyl group on the first carbon, the name becomes 1-methylpropan-2-ol. Practicing with functional groups helps you master the rules. For ketones, let's try a 5-carbon chain with a carbonyl group on the second carbon. The parent chain is pentane and the carbonyl group is at position 2. The correct IUPAC name is pentan-2-1. If there's an ethyl group on the fourth carbon, the name becomes 4-ethylpentan-2-1. Practicing these examples helps you remember the suffixes and numbering rules. Now let's name a carboxylic acid. Suppose you have a 4-carbon chain with a carboxyl group at one end and a methyl group on the third carbon. The parent chain is butanoic acid and the methyl group is at position 3. The correct IUPAC name is 3-methylbutanoic acid. Practicing with acids helps you get used to the highest priority rules. For amines, let's try a 3-carbon chain with an amino group on the first carbon. The parent chain is propane and the amino group is at position 1. The correct IUPAC name is propan-1-amine. If there's a methyl group on the second carbon, the name becomes 2-methylpropan-1-amine. Practicing with amines helps you remember the suffix and position rules. Let's practice naming an ester. Suppose you have an ethyl group attached to the oxygen and a 2-carbon acid part. The correct IUPAC name is ethyl ethanoate. If the acid part has a methyl group on the second carbon, the name becomes ethyl 2-methylpropanoate. Practicing with esters helps you get comfortable with naming both parts of the molecule. For aromatic compounds, let's try naming a benzene ring with methyl groups on the first and third carbons. The correct IUPAC name is 1,3-dimethylbenzene, also known as M-xylene. If there's a nitro group on the fourth carbon, the name becomes 4-nitro-1,3-dimethylbenzene. Practicing with aromatics helps you master numbering and substituent order. Let's practice naming a cycloalkane. Suppose you have a 6-carbon ring with a methyl group on the first carbon and an ethyl group on the third carbon. The correct IUPAC name is 1-ethyl-3-methylcyclohexane. Number the ring to give the lowest possible numbers to the substituents and list them alphabetically. Practicing with cyclics helps you get used to the cyclo prefix and numbering rules. For nitriles, let's try a 3-carbon chain with a nitrile group at the end and a methyl group on the second carbon. The correct IUPAC name is 2-methylpropanitrile. The nitrile group always takes position 1 and other substituents are numbered accordingly. Practicing with nitriles helps you remember the nitrile suffix and position rules. Let's practice naming an ether. Suppose you have a methoxy group attached to the second carbon of propane. The correct IUPAC name is 2-methoxypropane. The shorter alkyl group is named as an alkoxy prefix and its position is indicated by a number. Practicing with ethers helps you get comfortable with the alkoxy naming convention. For halides, let's try a 4-carbon chain with a chlorine atom on the second carbon and a methyl group on the third carbon. The correct IUPAC name is 2-chloro-3-methylbutane. Halide groups are named as prefixes and listed alphabetically with other substituents. Practicing with halides helps you remember the prefix and order rules. Let's practice naming an amide. Suppose you have a 3-carbon chain with an amide group at the end and a methyl group on the second carbon. The correct IUPAC name is 2-methylpropanamide. The amide group always takes position 1 and other substituents are numbered as usual. Practicing with amides helps you remember the amide suffix and priority rules. Let's try naming a molecule with multiple functional groups. Suppose you have a 4-carbon chain with a carboxyl group at one end and a hydroxyl group on the third carbon. The correct IUPAC name is 3-hydroxybutanoic acid. The carboxyl group takes priority as the suffix and the hydroxyl group is named as a prefix. Practicing with multiple groups helps you master the priority rules. Let's practice naming a molecule with stereochemistry. Suppose you have a 4-carbon chain with a double bond between carbons 2 and 3 and the higher priority groups are on the same side. The correct IUPAC name is Z-but-2-ene. If they're on opposite sides, it's E-but-2-ene. Practicing with stereochemistry helps you get comfortable with EZ and RS notation. Let's try naming 2 isomers of C4H10. The straight-chain version is butane while the branched version is 2-methylpropane. Both have the same molecular formula but different structures. Practicing with isomers helps you see how IUPAC names distinguish between different arrangements of atoms. Some common mistakes in IUPAC naming include choosing the wrong parent chain, incorrect numbering, or forgetting alphabetical order. Always double-check the longest chain, assign the lowest possible numbers, and list substituents alphabetically. Practice and careful attention to detail will help you avoid these pitfalls and master the rules. Congratulations on making it through this guide to IUPAC nomenclature. We've covered the basic rules, functional groups, stereochemistry, and plenty of practice examples. Remember, the key to mastering organic naming is practice and attention to detail. Use the systematic approach, find the parent chain, number it correctly, identify and name substituents, and apply the right suffixes and prefixes. With time, you'll find IUPAC names become second nature. Keep practicing and you'll be naming even the most complex molecules with confidence.